I found out that my son was moving out of the country with his family, and I had absolutely no idea. I found out the day before they were leaving, and I texted him and I was like, please, I just found this out. Can I please just see you and say goodbye? And I didn't get
Yeah.
a response. So there was no goodbye.
Okay, guys, we're back. We're with Lynne. I'm so excited. Lynne and I met. She was the first person who ever joined when I started my online community between Hope and Heartbreak. She was the first person who ever joined, and I cried when she joined because I was super nervous to start the community and it felt so uncomfortable. When she joined, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. God asked me to step out in this way, and I did. And then she joined, and I was like, okay, here we go. And I've grown to really appreciate her and her story. And she offers me feedback and encouragement and perspective. And she's very vulnerable in our Zoom calls. Her story, I feel, is very impactful. I asked her to share her story with you guys today because I really do feel like it will be so encouraging and helpful for somebody else walking through this journey of estrangement, just because the way she's navigated it with such grace and how she has done work and how she seeks the Lord and how she honors the Lord and how just her posture and her attitude is inspiring. And I know you guys are going to be encouraged. I will also say this is the first person I've had on the podcast. I've never interviewed anyone before. It's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Okay, so Lynne, introduce yourself, share a little bit about you, your family, when estrangement started for you.
I'm Lynne Berry. I got 3 adult children. I've been divorced and I'm now remarried for the last 4 years. And estrangement affected it first came back into my life about 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years this month, with my oldest son. He asked to sit down and talk to me. He read me this really long letter with a lot of interest. To me, at the time, it felt like they were just kind of not really big things, nothing really big that we couldn't work through. And he read it to me, asked if I had any questions, and I was stunned. I was kind of speechless. I was shocked. I was like, wait, this is a bad dream. I can't believe this is happening to me. And I think God just kept my mouth shut for a reason, and I just listened. And I left his house, and obviously really grieved that. Didn't feel real. And he just said he needed to heal and wanted to take this break from me. Did not know how long it was going to be. So don't ask. This was about 6 weeks before his first child was going to be born, my first granddaughter. I think that added to the devastation for me. I was allowed to come and see his daughter when she was born. It was about a month later, and I was there. It was very awkward. I was there for 30 minutes, held her. That was it. And I left. I have not seen them since.
Was he in, like, when he had this letter prepared, was he in therapy or counseling?
No, not that I'm aware of. When kind of backtrack, when I went through the divorce with their dad, I really encouraged my kids to get into counseling. They were teenagers. They're absolutely, nope, I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk to a stranger. So I didn't push it. And where I live, they have to give consent by the age of 13. They can make the decision. I couldn't make them go. So as far as I know, he hasn't, even to this day. I did, at the end of our conversation, when we read the letter, I offered to go with him. Like, I'll go with you to counseling, like whatever counselor you pick, it doesn't have to be mine. And I'll go and let's, work through this. And he just said, okay, thanks. And that was it, but no follow through on that.
Had he shared any of these things that he shared in the letter prior to that experience or that conversation with you before?
No, he hadn't. It just felt like a bunch of things that if they were discussed in the moment or when they happened, we really could have worked through them. I would have been aware. But no, a lot of them were misunderstandings, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe they were bigger to him. I don't know. They were just, I think my intent was misunderstood. And he thought, I think it was different. I mean, another piece added to this, that before he asked for this break from me, he was raised in a Christian home. His dad was a pastor as well. And he kind of went through this journey It was back in like October of 2021. So I guess a couple of years
Mm-hmm.
before he asked for this break,
Yeah.
he wrote me this big long letter, again, like 30 pages. And he basically decided to change his faith and beliefs and decided to become a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, that was shocking, but I was like, it doesn't change anything. You're my son. I love you. We can disagree on our beliefs. It didn't change anything, but looking back, I feel like that's when he started to slowly kind of distance himself from me.
Did he distance himself from anybody else in the family?
No,
Okay. And
no,
his dad either?
his dad. That's a whole long story. He initially didn't talk to his dad for about, I want to say, close to 10 years.
Okay.
So he was 16 when we divorced, and he didn't want anything to do with him, didn't want to talk to him. And then he eventually, I think around the time of his changing his beliefs, religious beliefs, he started to have some contact with his dad, talking with him, seeing him a little bit here and there,
Mm-hmm.
holidays. But before that, no, it was a good 10 years.
Okay.
And he was in contact with his brother and his sister. So that was,
Yeah.
as far as I know, yeah, he didn't distance himself from anyone else in the immediate family.
Can you share a little bit about how your other kids responded to, because it's something we hear a lot, like in our community, and other moms just walking through estrangement of, how the siblings responded and how, like, do they agree? Do they disagree? And just the posture in which they took. And I think that there's a lot of moms, who I get asked the question a lot, like, how do other siblings handle it? And I feel like I can't always speak to that because my kids are so much younger than my daughter. I feel like most sibling relationships we're talking about are adults. And I feel like I don't know if I have enough to add to that because my boys are 16, 13, and 12. So their response to not seeing their sister is far different. And for our
Right.
situation, she cut the siblings out as well. She cut everybody out.
Mm.
So I'm just curious, like, what's your take on how the siblings have responded and what you've experienced with that dynamic?
Right. Yeah. So actually, when he asked me to come in to his house and read this letter to me, both my daughter and my other son were there as well. He
Mm-hmm.
wanted them to be there. I had asked him, I was like, look, if this is between you and I would rather it be between you and I. And he said, no, I want them there. So they were there for everything. My daughter, pretty much, I felt like sided with him and was like, yeah, you just need to go work on yourself, mom, and take the time and hear what we're saying. And then my youngest son was more middle of the road. He didn't say a whole lot. There was just like one thing that he shared with me, and I was like, fair enough. After the conversation there at my oldest son's house, my youngest son and I then eventually, he came over and we talked through everything like a couple days later. And I was like, I don't want this, what's happening here to happen with us. And we worked through things and everything was fine. And, to this day, I have a good relationship with him.
Yeah.
But they, how they kind of responded to the whole thing, they didn't, I felt like they really kind of leaned towards taking their brother's side. They didn't want to really betray him.
Yeah.
So to kind of add to the story, even though it's going to be about 2 years, about what 4 or 5 months ago, this past July, kind of to put a little wrinkle into the whole estrangement thing, I found out that completely by mistake. It's kind of crazy. It was a God thing that someone came to me that was aware of the fact that my son was moving out of the country
Mm-hmm.
with his family, and I had absolutely no idea. However, my two other kids knew and
Ugh.
never told me. So I found out the day before they were leaving, and I texted him and I was like, please, I just found this out. Can I please just see you and say goodbye? And I didn't get a
Yeah.
response. So there was no goodbye.
Yeah.
I was pretty devastated. I had come, a year and a half into it. I had, done a lot of work and I was like really at peace about it. And that kind of like set me back a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
The anxiety was just overwhelming. for me. I don't know, for like a couple days, I was a mess. I was like,
Yeah.
how am I going to function?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just so real. But I called my youngest son to ask him about all this, and he said, yeah, they're moving. And I had a conversation with my daughter too. And, initially I was kind of hurt
Mm.
by that. I was like, man, and my daughter outright said, well, I didn't want to betray my brother and
Yeah.
ruin my relationship with him. And really, after I got through that for several days, I was like, God just really spoke to me. And he's like, look, it's so important. And it is so important to me that my children have a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And if it meant that they had to do that, I'm okay. I initially it was hard, but
Yeah.
I'm okay with it now because I think that my oldest son, put them both in a really, really difficult situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want, like I said, I don't want their relationship to be damaged
I just
by
admire this
telling me.
part of, so there's so many different aspects of your story that I really admire, but I'm not gonna lie, the first time that you told me that or told our group that, I I was I was shocked. I applaud you, and I think it really is a testament to your relationship with the Lord and how you handled that. It would be so easy to be so bitter and to be so angry, and you didn't take that posture. I mean, yes, you're saying you had a hard couple days and like you had to,
It
you're a
was tough.
human being, like you had
Yeah.
stuff you had to go through, but the
Yeah.
posture that you've continued to take in it and not allowing bitterness and anger and frustration to continue to divide your family is so incredible, Lynn.
Thank
It
you.
truly is such an example to me because I don't know how I would respond. And you
Well,
responded so kindly and so Christ-like, I feel like. I feel like that's how all of us would hope to respond, but I don't know that I would.
thank you. Thank you, Nicole. For me, it's like, it's literally a daily thing.
Mhm.
For me, I have to I daily is my prayer. God, don't let any bitterness
Mhm.
or anger get a root in my heart. And
Mhm.
it's daily. It's a
Mhm.
daily surrender.
Mhm.
I would be lying if I didn't say like it can be a battle. Like I know that say he just is like, shooting
Yeah.
stuff at me. Like, I can't believe he did that to you. Like, aren't you mad about, and I'm like, no, no, I'm not gonna let that get a root in my heart. I
Yeah.
choose to forgive. It's hard. It's a daily
Yeah.
battle.
Yeah. I think that the way you handled it with the siblings is very admirable. I agree with your perspective. He put them in a really unfortunate situation. And if, again, the fact that you can see that and empathize with them and also focus on your end goal of I want them to be close.
Mhm.
And that if that means that I have to take the hit or take the sacrifice, I'll do that because I want that for them
Absolutely.
in the end. And he put them in a hard situation, but that's okay. I'll take the hit. And I really, yeah, it's really amazing. So I assume they still all have relationship with him to this. Well, I guess you probably don't know currently if they do.
Um, I don't ask a lot for the
Yeah,
very same
fair.
reason. Like I don't want to put them in a bad position
Yeah,
at all.
100%.
And
Yeah.
so, I hear bits and pieces. Like I know they had a big Zoom call like in the last week
Mhm.
and their dad was involved in it. And I was the only one that wasn't, but that's okay.
Mhm.
Ultimately, I know like for them to figure out like with their dad how to have a healthy relationship with him, that's more important to me
I feel
than
like there's so many times in estrangement when we're walking it well that our pride is like, oh, no, we're just gonna swallow that. And the Lord like
yeah.
really there's so
100%.
so much
Yeah.
humility in it. Like,
Yeah, it was
okay.
definitely a pride swallowing. Man, you feel left out. Like,
Yeah.
what's so wrong with me? I'm the one that was here with you when your dad took off,
Right.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but it's definitely the whole estrangement thing has been humbling, very
Hmm.
humbling. I never thought this would be something that would touch my life ever.
Right.
I'm not an addict. I'm not abusive. Like,
Right.
I was like, I think I was a pretty good mom. I mean, I made mistakes, lots of mistakes.
Yeah.
I wasn't perfect, but I don't think it was horrible.
Right.
So yeah, very
It's
humbling.
interesting when you were talking about in his letter and the things that he shared with you about how you were saying like they could have just been squashed or they could have just been resolved at the time if they'd been brought up. And a lot of it was probably misunderstandings or your intention was
Yep.
misunderstood. I relate to that so much. I feel like in my like final text message or email to my daughter, I said you should know my heart is for you.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you know that my heart is for you, then how was this so misinterpreted? How could it even have been blown into something that it was far from? Because
Right.
so I often wonder that of how does it get and there's no answer. Not like we have the answer to this because you and I are not the only ones who aren't we're not abusive, we were not toxic, and we were good moms who are not perfect moms, and
Right.
we made mistakes. Of course we did, but where did the breakdown happen that we couldn't that my heart for you is lost? Where's
Right.
how did the intention get so lost? I wonder that all
Yeah.
of the time.
Yeah. And you think that they know us so well, like we're
Right.
their mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know.
And I don't know what I could have done differently so it was more known. I don't know how it could
Right.
have been missed. I resonate a lot with when you say that because some of the things, yeah, they just seem like
Yeah.
and it feels like for me, it feels like there has to be more. Surely there has to be more. But for
Right.
you, he wrote a whole letter. If there was more, I mean, surely he wrote
Right.
everything down. But
But he wrote me a letter, and then when I asked for a copy of it to take
mm,
with me to counseling, to therapy, he refused to give me a copy of it because it was a lot of things. So I wanted to take it with me to, talk through with my counselor, to work through whatever I needed to, but
that's
he
interesting.
wouldn't let me. So,
You were the person I made a reel about it, and you were the person I got it from when you were talking about it feels like I don't know the rules of the game.
yes.
It feels because if you're comfortable, let's talk about, so you've done the work. You heard what he had to say
Yes.
and you started therapy, you started counseling, you've been putting in the work, you listened to your other kids, you had conversations with them. You're not just saying, this is a you problem, I'm fine, go
Right.
on with your life, enjoy it. You're not letting bitterness and anger take root. You're doing the work like clinically and spiritually, all of the things you had said that it feels like there's these rules to the game that I don't know. And then also something we've discussed is how do you now show him that you've done the work?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like I think the next day, my first like text was to my counselor. I had been in counseling previous to him asking for this break and just working on some stuff like an abusive relationship that I was in and had not really worked on, the effects of the divorce. I just kind of pushed through. So that was literally the day after he asked for the break. That was the first like text I was like, I got an appointment. I literally got in right away. God was good. And I started that work. Yeah, I did all this. I learned a lot. There are things that I realized that I really am really eager to share with him. And I feel like I don't know the rules to the game because he just doesn't respond to me. He has not always been the best of communicators, even before the estrangement.
Mm-hmm.
And he just holds a lot in. He's very to himself. But I think now, like now that he's out of the country, the only way I can communicate with him, he told me after he was there, was through this app, the WhatsApp app. And
Mm-hmm.
I can't even get any responses through that to try and have a relationship. He says, yes, you can reach me through this. But then when I do reach out, eh, I don't really get anything back.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing. And
Right.
so I'm left kind of going, I don't really know what the rules to this game are. I don't have an address. I reached out. My counselor really encouraged me to say, hey, ask him it. Do you feel comfortable giving me your new address? Which is what I did. And I got this big excuse of we really don't have addresses like in the United States. And I was like, well, how would I go about getting something to you? Instead of just saying, I don't want to give you my address. I don't feel comfortable. It's nothing. Like I'm
Yeah.
ghosted.
Yeah.
That's been hard, but
Yeah.
maybe that's, as I've been working in counseling, like it's okay maybe that if I just step back,
Mm-hmm.
he knows how to get a hold of me. He knows where I am.
Right.
And
Right.
maybe this is just getting in the way of what God needs to do in the situation. So I'm trying to do that. It's hard. You're a mom, and the mom in you is like, well, I want to wish him a happy birthday. I don't want him to think I forgot their birthday.
Well, and that's
Or,
the hard thing with estrangement because
yeah,
we've talked about this before where it's like, it's not even, it becomes a not even like, I don't want them to know, to think that I didn't think about them on their birthday, but
yeah,
is this going to be used against me? If I reach out,
right,
is it going to be used against
yeah,
me as I shouldn't have reached out? If I don't reach out, is it used against me that I
right,
didn't reach out? It becomes almost paralyzing of
yeah,
all of these scenarios that your mind runs wild with because there is no rules to the game. There's invisible boundaries, so you don't know what boundaries you're operating in between.
right,
You can't understand where they're coming from because it feels so foreign and it's this
yeah,
spiral of what do I do?
yeah. I mean, even that I found out that my son's birthday, he was upset because I'd sent his wife a birthday card and gift, and he didn't get one. But here's the reality. This is where the rules, like, I don't know what they are. They had actually sold their home and moved in with her family before they left the country, almost like 9 months prior. And I wasn't aware.
Right.
I did send him a birthday card and a gift, but apparently it didn't get there. But he's upset with me that I supposedly didn't send anything, but yet there was no communication that, oh, he
Things
doesn't
had
even live at
moved.
this address.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
And they don't forward mail after
Right.
6 months. So I
Right.
don't know what happened, but it was like,
It
yeah,
feels like a game that
yeah,
you'll never
I
win.
can't win for losing. Like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I appreciate so much about your story is that your story is it's what the world doesn't want to believe exists and happens.
right,
It to make it make sense to the world, we're all toxic, we're abusive,
right,
and of course our kids are estranged from us. And then there's stories like yours and it's like we don't want to accept that it's actually happening because then it would be admitting that it could happen to any of us because
yeah,
it could happen to any of us.
mm-hmm,
And that's the story you and I have learned is that it doesn't discriminate against anybody, any type of
right,
mother. And there's all sorts of factors, but I and again, I just the way that you have allowed you have not become bitter is such a testament to your relationship with the Lord and how again you've walked it clinically with your counselor, but you've also walked it with the Lord. And like you said, like maybe this is my time to just step back. Maybe the Lord's working on something that I don't know. And so I don't know the rules to his game, your son's game, but
mm-hmm,
you know the rules to what the Lord's asking you to do. So I don't know the rules to this game, but I can
yeah,
follow the word. The Holy
yes,
Spirit's working, and that becomes your guardrails when there is no guardrails for the relationship with your son. And
right.
I don't know how people walk through estrangement without the Lord because
Me
he is
either.
my guardrail. Like he's my
Yeah,
guiding light, and
yeah,
that it all becomes painful and confusing and bitter and angry without him.
yeah, yeah. And there's just no hope for me
Yeah.
without Jesus. Like I said, when I found out he was leaving the country in those couple of days, like I was just like, I can't function. I'm a mess. I just reached out to my family, my close friends, and I was like, I need you to pray for me right now. I can't literally function right now, and
Yeah.
school's starting soon, and I have to, as a teacher, like there's all these emotional needs of kids that I'm handling every day. And I'm like, I'm not even okay. God was so good. After 2 days, I just woke up and this peace just was over me. Like I knew like people were praying and God had just given me this peace. I'm like, okay, you're going to be okay. He is going to get you through
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So,
The way he's worked in your stories is very evident. We've recently talked about you're reading a book by Dr. Joshua Coleman, and we've also watched the podcast of Oprah Winfrey, and they talked
yes,
about the statistics. 1 in 3, 1 in 3 people or
one in
kids. I guess it doesn't matter,
one
but
in
one in
three.
three,
Yeah, I think,
one
was
in
it one
three.
in 1 in 3? It's going to affect 1 in 3 people.
Yeah, I think that's how
Yeah.
they worded it. 1 in 3 people. You and I had talked about how statistically it feels intimidating and like the chances are low of
Yes.
us being able to reconcile or our kids reconciling with us. How do you work that out emotionally when you think about the future?
That's such a good question. I have finished Joshua Coleman's book. It was really good, but hard. I also read that book previously. I think we did the book study on, I believe, was from the perspective of a gal who asked, or she chose to be estranged from her family. So after reading like both of those, honestly, like, yeah, there's just like a sinking feeling in me. Like in both books, they said, look, like either one, it's just not going to be the same. If you do reconcile, it's just not going to be the same as it was. And two, Dr. Coleman was like, yeah, you may not reconcile. It just may not happen. Yeah, it's hard for me, but my hope is in Jesus. There's so many things on social media that are like bombarded at you. Oh, join my plan, pay this amount,
Yeah.
just message me plan and I'll give you the tools to make your kid talk to you again, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, gosh, I wonder if it works.
Yeah.
But God really is like, Lynn, look, like, do you not believe that I am powerful enough to heal your relationship with your son? I love him more than you. And so I have to refocus myself back in and just go, yes, I do believe, like, I have hope that Jesus is gonna heal my relationship with him, restore our family.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the patience piece for me in waiting.
Mhm.
That's, but so I just hold on to that hope. Like
Yeah.
like you said earlier, if I didn't have that hope, I don't know how I'd function in life, going through this every day. So I just hold on to that. I lean into God's word, just scripture. Like I've got like on my phone, my screensaver is like a couple of different verses that like are just a reminder to me every day. Being a part of your community has been so healing for me and given me hope because I feel like I'm not alone. Like literally, it's funny that you said that like I was one of the first people to join your community. Like literally, I found your community the next day after my son said, or I found out he was leaving and
Mm.
leaving the country. So like God's timing, like how cool is that? I've been
Yeah.
praying and praying, and then when this really just even more devastating thing happened, the next day, God, boom, he provides this
Yeah.
your community, and I'm so grateful for it. But now just focusing on the community, and I think like close to 20 names of kids that are estranged from the moms.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, and I have them written down in a journal, and I literally do, like, I pray over them every single day by name, and I pray for the moms. And for me, that's been like I kind of get emotional about it. That's just been an honor for me to be able to be involved in praying for these kids and these other moms that get what I'm going through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
focusing on that, just kind of changing my focus, and hopefully being an encouragement to others that are going through the same thing has also helped me. There's one person in the community that we exchange phone numbers and we text. And so, yeah, that is what has really helped me.
It's so powerful. I got emotional and like multiple chills when you were talking about praying over the kids because there's sometimes that I think like, Lord, why am I doing this? Like, what is
Yeah.
sometimes because sometimes it's a lot. It's a lot and it's heavy and it's a lot of sadness. And
Hmm.
I want to be able to fix it. I want to be able to say, I have a guide.
Yeah.
You just follow
Yeah.
these steps and it'll fix it.
Yeah.
But that's not what the Lord's called me to do. He's called me to show that we can have hope in Jesus in the waiting.
Yes.
Um, and so sometimes I get stuck between trying to want to do more to offer
Hmm.
a fix it, but then I have to go back to what God's called me to. So when I hear you talking about we're praying for each of these kids,
Hmm.
it's so powerful. That's worth all of it. There's so much shame around estrangement, but when we're
Hmm.
in our community, there's not because we all get it.
No.
We just
Yeah.
share, and it's a safe space to have a hard day and to not be like not that we're negative, but it's a safe so you can let the defense walls down, I think, a little bit.
Yes.
And just that power of that knowing someone else is praying for you and someone else will check in on you and
Hmm.
they're praying for each of our kids because yeah, it was such a good, powerful reminder. So
And I think we learn so much from each other too. I've learned, like, other people's perspective on things and thinking about it. Yeah, you're right. Or I needed to read that today. You just refocused me on Jesus.
Mhm.
The devotionals, like the verses,
Mhm.
everything. Songs sometimes. They're
Yeah.
just, they're so cool. They're such
Yeah.
an encouragement.
It's a cool space. I am so honored that you it's not comfortable to share your story, and I'm so honored that you said yes to my ask and that you share just your insight and wisdom and perspective with all the women in the community, and now this podcast, this more virtual community, I guess wider. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your heart. Is there any last minute things that you were like, wait, I wanted to get that in and I didn't ask the right question maybe, or
No, I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. I don't like to be up front and it's kind of uncomfortable, but
Oh,
God.
I have to share this
Yeah.
story really quick because
Okay.
when I asked Lynn to be on the podcast, she said, "Let me pray about it." And then she came back and she's like, "I think I'm ready. I feel a little bit, did you say nauseous about it? I feel like
I think
or
I was gonna throw up.
yeah,
I feel
throw
like I
up."
wanted to throw up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I said, "Well, that's
Yeah.
my motto, Lynn. Like if it makes you feel like you're going to throw up, then the answer
Yeah.
is yes. Like we just
Yeah.
keep because when God calls us to it, there's nothing
Yes.
comfortable about it." So here we go. Buckle up for
Yep.
feeling nauseous like we're going to throw up all the way.
Yeah. When you ask God to use your story, you're like, well, not that way,
Right.
but okay.
Okay,
Okay.
God, here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway, sorry. So I
Yeah.
just had to share that story because I
Yeah.
thought it was funny. Because
That's
that's
great.
exactly how I felt. And so I was like, oh, you feel the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I just want to thank you again. I know I've told you a million times for this group, and if anyone's listening and you're not a part of it, join it. Like it's an amazing community. Um,
Thank you.
you'll be encouraged,
Thank you. I'm glad. It's God asked me to do it and I just said yes. So
and you
nauseous
live
all the way.
all the way. Yay!
Okay. Well, thank you, Lynn. And we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.